Sir, your initial thoughts at this very tragic incident.
So Vishnu, as you said, it's a huge tragedy, and I'm saying it's a huge tragedy for the army because the normal ethos in the military is that soldiers give their lives to protect their comrades. And to me, and I'm not jumping the gun here, to me it certainly appears that it's possibly something that's happened within the unit. Because the weapon has gone missing from the unit 2 days earlier. The same weapon has been used, for killing these 4 jawans.
General, that's the one part which I'm slightly confused about, because they say that there is a forensic examination of that weapon which has now been recovered. Now, as I understand it, all weapons, and correct me if I'm wrong, would have a serial number. So if it was the same weapon, then in the last army statement they would say, no, we found the weapon. But they're saying there's a forensic examination of that. So that I find raises more questions.
No, Vishnu, so from what I know, the weapon is the same. Okay. They've recovered the fired cases. The fired cases are the same ammunition that was stolen along with the weapon. I think the reason why they're saying the forensic examination is necessary is because they will look at the fingerprints and what else is there on the weapon.
Right.
It's clear that the weapon is the same that was stolen, and the ammunition that was used is also the same that was stolen along with the weapon.
But General, continue with your thoughts. You mentioned that there is a possibility of it being the same unit which is involved. Now, if that is the case, then obviously fratricide, it's a serious concern for not just the Army, Air Force, Navy, but also our police forces of late. What are some of the factors that go into something like this?
So, Vishu, why I'm saying that is, to me it seems implausible that somebody from outside will come, steal a weapon, go outside again, come back again to the same unit and in the same area do something. Why do fratricides occur? I wish we could pinpoint a single sort of reason for it, Vishnu, which would enable us to find a solution to this. There are personal issues of how an individual looks at his own stress that he's under, personal pressure, financial pressure. Obviously, there could be leadership lapses that lead to this. So there are, I think, multiple reasons. We wish these things don't happen. Unfortunately, sometimes they do. And there's a huge effort to ensure that these things are minimized and they don't occur.
All right. I'm just going to read the latest statement by the Army. A search team has located, as the General was mentioning, the incest rifle along with the magazine. Army and police joint teams will now be undertaking forensic analysis of the weapon for ascertaining further details. The balanced number of rounds in the weapon will only be available after forensic analysis. The joint investigation with the Punjab police is in progress. All possible assistance is being provided. It is reiterated that no individual has been detained or apprehended. And of course, then the Army is telling all of us to be careful. It's a sensitive story and we are being careful. Now, General, 17 odd hours later, the fact that no individual has been detained, you would have been to the military station Bathinda, I'm sure, sir. Could you just tell us, is it a very large station? Is the possibility of people sort of slipping in and out, is it possible at all?
No, so it's one of the largest military stations in Asia. But for outsiders to slip in and out, really, I would think is difficult because the way the security is. And frankly, Vishnu, for somebody to slip in from outside, take the weapon, go back outside, slip back into the same unit, to me, it looks like an implausible story. We don't know. I don't want to jump the gun. We don't know. It could well have happened, but to me, the chances of this happening are very remote.
General Hooda, the fact that all these hours later, the Army has still not been able to come out and say that, no, this is likely to have been one of ours, one of our own soldiers. I think that raises a lot of questions because there's obviously a head count which is done in a situation like this, possibly even instantly. So the army would immediately know if any of their own are missing. In other words, people on the run. But to that question, and very pointedly, there is still no answer. No, we are looking at it. So does that not raise more questions?
No. So Vishnu, there is nobody who's on the run. The unit says everyone is accounted for. Obviously, the weapon has been thrown away and sort of recovered now. I think it's just how should I put it? So it's not like a typical sort of fratricide where in a burst of emotion you do something. It's obviously something that has been planned because the weapon has been taken away 2 days earlier, stolen, and then used, in a case of murder, let me put it bluntly, 2 days later. Obviously, there has been a level of planning that has gone into it. So I don't think we should confuse it with a typical case of fratricide.
Yeah, and a typical case of fratricide, General, as we've seen, again in the police forces and also in the armed forces, is when a soldier turns a gun not just on brother soldiers, but then ends up killing himself, and that's obviously not the case over here. But
absolutely,
General, I'm just trying to understand again. Is it your understanding that everybody has been accounted for? In other words, the army knows that those who are involved are their own?
It's possible, Vishnu. So again, I'm saying there's an investigation going on. But if you ask me from my sort of experience of having served so many years in the army, having looked at how garrison security is organized, having looked at everything, I would, and maybe I'm going out on a limb here, Vishnu. I would sort of say more possibly sort of an insider thing. Unfortunate as it may sound, but that's where the possibility is. I don't see a terror link or anything. I don't know if you're aware that the unit that's involved is a unit which has soldiers from South India.
Yes.
So if it was soldiers from say Punjab or something, you could possibly also look at that sort of link. I don't think that link is there at all.
So besides obviously the murders themselves, the deaths, General, it's what you alluded to, the planning, that this was a weapon which was stolen, a weapon which was evidently used, more than one person. There appear to be two people involved in this, which again raises questions by itself. And the fact that these individuals are on the run, they've not been caught as yet. It was very deeply planned. Some would suggest, you would suggest, right, General?
I would show the kind of the manner in which it's got executed. If you ask me frankly, if I was the commanding officer and the weapon has been stolen from my unit and it's gone missing, the first thing I would think is, look, somebody is stolen it for selling it to somebody, for doing something. For 2 days it's missing. To think that it would be used for planning such an event I haven't seen in my 40 years a similar situation like this. So while we can, post-mortem this whole thing, we can look at it and see what lapses had occurred. But honestly, I have not seen an incident like this. My first reaction would have been, and we've seen, weapons have been stolen from units. Weapons have gone missing. Most of them have either the person along with that has gone missing, or these weapons have been, passed off to somebody or given to somebody. I haven't seen an incident like this, Vishnu. So, which is why I'm saying, maybe I would also have not thought at all that such an action could happen with a stolen weapon.
Yeah. General, thanks very much for being with us.